Howdy, Connection Group leaders. Happy Thursday. At least I'm pretty sure it's still Thursday. I'm in Sarajevo right now. Me and 4 of the students are here on a mission trip for the next several days. I need you to keep that on the download for me, but of course we want to be respectful and careful and protect the Greenwiches. But yeah, get to be over here this week. It's really, really exciting, and got some cool stuff planned that's going to be helpful to them as they're spreading the gospel out here. But I've been on the plane for a long time. We just got here, and I don't know what day it is, but I'm happy to be talking to y'all. We get to talk about Psalm 1 on Sunday, and I'm thrilled that you're going to be doing that. I'm going to be talking to a whole different group of people on Sunday. We're actually going to be looking at Romans over here. But man, Psalm 1 is so, Lord, it's simple. It's easy to digest, and digest is actually a really good word to describe this chapter. But it's really practical, and I hope, as always, certainly those of you that are teaching students and children, you'll help them grasp this. But really, adults, this is something that we gotta grasp too. So let's just look at these verses. I think it's really, really good. How happy is the man who does not follow the advice of the wicked. Now that's really antithetical to so many pronunciations that we make. Even when we say things like, man, sin is fun, and sin is fun, but David actually takes the other approach. How happy, or if you want to look at it from the fun standpoint, how much fun does the one who's not out pursuing sin, and specifically not following the ways of sinners, how much more fun are they having than everyone else? That's a message that stands out. That's very uncommon. That's the word we like to use, the lake, right? So it's not standing in the way of sinners, not following their advice. In fact, actively ignoring that. I love the lesson actually uses the phrase, it says the gospel is good for everyone. We don't exclude anyone from the gospel, but we do exclude behaviors that would affect our behavior and our ability to follow the gospel. I thought that's really, really good. We need to continue to lay that groundwork. This doesn't mean that people that aren't following Jesus, we don't have anything to do with them. It's just a good reminder that you're not to be the most influential people in our lives. But if we're not careful, they will be. But he says you're like a tree that's planted by the water. And then it talks about the fruitfulness. So Becca right now is with her parents in Arizona. My kids and Becca took off to go see that. It makes sense. While in Bosnia, they'd go see Grandma and Grandpa, right? Where they live in Arizona, it is just as desolate as you would imagine. In fact, they call it the high desert. It's the mountains. There's just not a lot going on. But if you look at a topographical map of the area they live in, there's just desert everywhere. And there's this one little weird, really green line of trees for miles and miles and miles, not far from where my in-laws live. And what's going on there is there's actually an underground river called the San Pedro River. And the city accesses it there for their water. But all of the trees that grow on that river line are awesome. Just they're big and they're green and they're impressive. And they're doing exactly what the psalmist says right here. Trees that have access to what we would say would be the living water thrive. And they're strong and they're steady and they produce a lot of fruit. And that's what we want to be. And that's where the joy comes in. Now here's what I want you to catch that's important. Fruit is not meant for the tree. Like, trees don't produce fruit for themselves. The fruit is for those that are going to be coming and partaking about it. Those, if you want to look at this from the standpoint, fruit is designed to minister to other people. The tree produces the fruit, but the other people get to enjoy the fruit, and that thus is the ministry. The psalmist compares believers who are following the Lord as being fruitful trees, as opposed to those who are walking the way of sin. It describes them like chaff. Chaff is the leftover pieces of wheat. They're separated. There is zero substance to chaff. You can eat it, but it would be gross. There is nothing healthy about it whatsoever. It's just no good. So he says believers are strong and they're following the Lord and they're fruitful. Those that aren't are like chaff. They offer no substance to the world that is helpful whatsoever. And that's where the joy comes from. It's not just that we get to go to heaven someday, although that's an incredible, joyful situation. It's not just that we're not in trouble and other people are, although that's a joyful situation. Believers that delight in the scriptures, and what we have to catch and what you got to point out to people is you have the choice to delight in the scriptures. If you have to fake it till you make it, do that. You may not feel anything towards the scriptures, but actively pursue them and consume them anyway, because they will change your heart and the Lord will bring about delight in your soul. But the believers who delight in the scriptures are full of joy because they have the opportunity to do ministry and bless believers and unbelievers alike. So do that this week with your groups. Send your groups out to do the same thing. Pray for my team and I and the Greenwiches while we are trying to offer fruit to a very unbelieving world here in Bosnia. And let's go be like those trees that the Lord's describing. Love you guys. We'll see you when I get home. Bye.